Well, he claimed over lunch that he will talk about the healthiest rice in the world. But since we Filipinos have a chip on our shoulder, we're gonna have to contest that later. But anyway, it's my honor to welcome a friend of agriculture and of the Philippines, Mr. Clint of Siam Organic. Sir.
I should add that I'm representing a company from the Philippines, but my family is actually from Bacolod City, so don't worry, I'm representing the Philippines very well here. So my name is Clint and I am working for a company called Siam Organic, and we're an inclusive business that was actually a finalist of the ASEAN Business Awards this year in the inclusive business category. It's our mission to alleviate poverty among smallholder rice farmers, and we do this by working with them to grow rice, which we market internationally. If there's any product that really ties together the entire ASEAN region, it's rice. It's something that we eat almost every day, and it's extremely cheap. I mean, most of us had rice for lunch today, but how many of us actually stopped to think about where this rice came from or who grew it? And that's something that the two co-founders of Siam Organic, Neil and Pami, asked when they were thinking about starting a social enterprise way back in 2011. And what they looked at was this problem that they realized within Thailand, where Thailand is a leading rice exporter, but the Thai rice farmers are actually some of the poorest farmers in the world. And so, as you can see, during the poverty, rice farmers in Thailand are living far below the poverty line. During the harvest season, they're actually earning less than 40 cents a day. Okay, and so what has this resulted in? Well, debt has tripled over the last 10 years for Thai rice farmers. Thai rice farmers also lost their land. And also, as many people have mentioned earlier, farmers are getting older. No one wants to join this profession because it's not a sustainable livelihood. Meanwhile, many of their children are leaving farms and moving to cities in search of wage labor. And this is something that affects over 17 million rice farmers in Thailand. So the big question is, if Thailand is a leading rice exporter, why are farmers so poor? Well, this really breaks down to what profitability looks like for a rice farmer. And that's the price that they get for their harvest times their yield minus the cost of inputs and labor is what they make at the end of the harvest season. And so you can see here that Thai rice farmers are extremely uncompetitive within the ASEAN region, getting very low yields due to the use of poor quality seed and inefficient farming techniques. They have very high cost of production because of the high cost of farming inputs like conventional fertilizer and pesticides, as well as the high cost of farm labor in rural areas without much labor to help them out. Meanwhile, if you're growing a commodity crop like rice, the prices are prone to fluctuation, and they're often extremely low. So what did Siam Organic do to help solve this problem? Well, what we do is we take a full stack business approach by addressing every part of the value chain. And so we work with organic grower cooperatives to grow rice. And we also partner with the cooperatives themselves who own the rice mills and production facilities and packing facilities. And Siam Organic at the headquarters level handles marketing, distribution, and R&D. And so we're able to sell this rice both domestically and we're starting to export it. And through this business model, that's an inclusive business model, we're actually able to pay our farmers up to 200% more. So we do this by raising the price that they get, increasing their yields, and lowering their costs. And you might ask, how are we able to do this? Well, if we break it down into each of the three components, the price that we're able to give the farmers is up to 200% higher than they would get for a commodity crop. And this is because they're actually growing a new variety of rice that we're marketing under the Jazzberry brand that was developed within Thailand. It's a non-GMO variety of organically grown rice that's purple in color and extremely high in antioxidants. And so it has 3 times the amount of antioxidants as blueberries, and we're marketing it as the healthiest rice in the world. Okay? Another thing that we're doing to add value to this product is we're taking our Jazzberry rice. We're not only marketing it as a superfood in its purest state, but we're actually turning it into a superfood pasta. So we take this rice and we mill it and we create a gluten-free superfood pasta that's adding a lot of value as well. And because of all of this, we're able to pay our farmers more. Okay, going on to yield, we also work with our farmers with regular extension services. So we give them training on how to farm organically. We give them access to higher quality seeds, which we've talked about earlier. High quality rice seeds can actually dramatically increase your yield. And we're providing them additional training on the best way to do the farming to get the highest yields possible. Meanwhile, with the cost, we are looking at several ways to reduce the cost. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're partnering with Kiva, which is a microfinance platform online. And that allows us to provide microfinancing to each individual farmer so they can pay for organic farm inputs at the beginning of each season. An additional thing that we could do in the future is to work on devices such as small-scale irrigation or labor-saving mechanisms, because a lot of our farmers are getting older, and labor is a huge part of their cost. So if anyone's open to partnering with us in those areas, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. So with all those three areas addressed, what is our impact? Well, the farmers that we work with have gone from earning $12.40 a month to over $175 a month using our method. You know, that's just a very big number, but what does this mean on an individual basis? Well, this is Miss Ma, she's one of our farmers. And before she started working with us, she had 6 acres of land. She used chemicals on her farm, and she was in debt to $10,000. After a few years of working with us, her production and her profits dramatically increased. So now she's been able to basically double the land holdings that she has. All of her land is certified organic, so she's no longer exposed to harmful conventional pesticides, and her organic farmland is much more eco-friendly, and she's been able to pay off her debt. But really the most important thing is that she's now proud to be a farmer because it's a sustainable livelihood. And her children have actually moved back from the city to work on the farm because farming has become a much more profitable thing for her. So just to wrap up, I'd just like to add that we have a lot of stakeholders involved in agriculture here in the room. So just think about those 3 key things that we're looking at to help our farmers, and that's price, yield, and cost. So anywhere you are along the value chain, you can help farmers in all of those ways. And the number one thing is that we're all consumers. And so I would say, as someone who works for an inclusive business that helps a lot of farmers, as consumers, we make a choice every day whether or not to buy regular commodity rice that's grown under typically an exploitative system, or to pay a little bit more to help out some of the farmers with companies or brands that are doing a little bit more to help the farmers that are feeding all of us. Okay? Thank you so much.